This is Bunny Bhoola reporting live from South Africa for the dope news called African Voices for the Road to Growth. The coronavirus has stopped us all in our paths, putting a pause on our daily day-to-day activities. One such activity is travel and tourism. The industry is at a standstill, but that does not mean innovation for survival is dead. With our show, we want to understand the journey of these trailblazing industry leaders, from their past journeys to the present situation, and of course, the roadmap to tomorrow's growth. So, join me on this interesting journey as we move across the various African countries to learn, explore, and empower the voices of Africa as they set into survival mode to revive and reinvent to a whole new normal. This morning, we have a very special young man, one of the stalwarts of the tourism industry in the Western Cape, a real warrior, tourism survivor, and I would like to welcome Colin Thaver. Colin is, as I said, one of the tourism champions currently in the Western Cape and nationally in South Africa. His company is Southern Africa 360, and the amazing thing about this company, it's home-owned. It's where you get personalized service. It's where the boss man is right in the forefront of the trenches. And that's what's needed in our industry to make our industry tick. Am I correct, Colin?
I would definitely say so. And I think post-COVID, that's exactly what clients are going to be looking for as well, is that personalized service and knowing that you're dealing with the owners and not just an order taker within a company.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Colin and Nikki are a family-owned business that are very hands-on, and this is what's required and has been the success behind Southern Africa 360. Okay, Colin, let's chat a little bit about the past. The last 2 years, what were your highlights in the industry and your footfalls into South Africa? Can you elaborate a little bit for me?
I think that the last 2 years have been a little bit of a seesaw for us in the South African tourism sphere. We started off 2018 not very grand. If you can recall, we had the water crisis in Cape Town, which kind of sent some shockwaves around the world because it's a major city, not having water. Unfortunately, that message, as we all know, was basically blown out of proportion at that time, but it had a negative impact in terms of tourism, especially the winter, the summer season flow of clients from the Indian market into South Africa. However, that recovery was quick and successful. From about August, October for the Diwali period, we saw a huge amount of clients who had postponed their trips in the summer months, basically traveling towards the latter part of the year. And we saw that going through quite steadily right into December of 2018. 2019, I think, was one of the most awesome years out of the Indian trade after a very long time, purely because I think also we had the situation where the currency within India also settled itself. Because remember, that was also on the back of 2017, 2018, where we had issues with currency in India and things like that, and that had an impact in terms of people traveling. We had a fantastic year, and what was really nice about it is that we started seeing small families traveling together. No longer were we just seeing 1 and 2 people or seeing coach tours. We were starting to see families of 6 to 8, 6 to 12 people traveling, which was like really, really good, because the relationship with us as an organization, putting together the holiday or the trip together with our guides on the grounds, it made it very, very feel homely, because you were dealing with everybody who kind of knew everybody, which was like kind of awesome as well. So I think from that point of view, it's been really good. I think we all started off thinking that 2020 was going to be built on the basis of 2019, and it was going to be a lot. And I think we as South Africans started getting a bit more eager. We put a lot more effort. We were at Sati, if you can remember. We were there big. We had a huge stand. All of us as South Africans were drumming the beats, and we were upbeat for 4 days, selling our destination. And then we traveled the country length and breadth. I stayed on for like an additional 3 weeks doing sales calls to all our clients, meeting new clients, and it was fantastic. I mean, we were hoping to see some record numbers. But as you know, that didn't materialize. But we're still optimistic that our Indian travelers will come back to beloved South Africa because we know they have an affection for us and a love for us, and we are a value for money destination, and we do give them a lot more to offer. So we're optimistic that we'll see those growths that we had in 2019 again.
Absolutely, Colin, we're very resilient. Tourism is in our blood. So it is something that a lot of us will spring back from this kind of situation. But tell me, how has COVID affected your business and the Western Cape currently?
I think we're feeling it. We're feeling it a lot, purely because as a company, India is one of our focus markets, but we do sell into European markets as well. So we started seeing cancellations coming out of our Italian, French, and Spanish markets around about January. By February, we had seen our Scandinavian clients starting to cancel. So by April, when the decision to lock borders around the world started becoming the echo of the call, we already had seen it. And I think Western Cape derives a lot of its revenue from international travel. It is the main epicenter of tourism within South Africa. So I think a lot of the suppliers, in terms of the tourism distribution channel, be it accommodation, be it restaurants, be it attractions, be it outdoor markets, be it theatre, thrives on us having a rich array of visitors coming in and spending 4 to 5 days wandering the streets of Cape Town. So I think we all are feeling it, and I think more so because winter, which is Indian summer season, is basically saved by Indian clients coming through. And when you see 120 to almost 200,000 packs from India traveling over like a 4 or 5 month period, that brings a good injection into the winter months of Cape Town. So again, not having that traveling at the moment has impacted quite largely on all forms of business. Us in particular, because we are not basically receiving any clients. And in addition to that, we're not supporting any of our normal outlets that we would do from a product point of view as well. So it is a rippling effect that we're all feeling and facing at the moment. Some other operators are slightly guarded by this, or because they don't have a strong winter business, they have more of a stronger summer business. So yes, they are feeling the impact, but not as much as somebody like us who basically concentrates on winter business coming into South Africa.
Okay. Colin, what kind of activations have you put into place to make sure that your business is top of mind to the industry, to your partners? Any survival that you have in place?
Lots. We have not slept in the last 120 odd days, to be honest with you. I think I've worked harder now in the last few months than I've ever worked. And the parting words I'd like to say, I will never take any customer for granted going forward. I now realize how important the customer really is to your business, irrespective of the value of that customer. But coming back to your point, Bunny, I think we've done a lot. I've been in the Indian market now for well over 10 years trying to sell to the Indian clients. And one of the things that I found always lacked from our side as well is that we never had face-to-face meetings where we could actually do product training. It was always talking about a particular deal or talking about how we can sell a particular season or put a particular package together, but never physically training from a DMC point of view, like what works within our organization, how can we mold ourselves into your little company, whether you're a two-man or whether you're a bigger company. And I think that was the greatest part. So for the last 2 months or so, the team have basically conducted over 2,000 individual training sessions by individuals, meaning that we must have done like about almost 200 to 300 Zoom meetings with at least about 15 to 20 people on an average, and then the bigger companies up to 100 people. And that has helped us because, we've had an hour to sell the destination. And for me, doing this was not so much about trying to win business, but it was about an education of the Indian market in terms of understanding how to sell the destination. So whether they use the knowledge that I imparted to them to come back and do business with us or go and work with another DMC, I'm hoping that what we've done through that process has helped educate the market. So that was the one thing that we've done. We also basically work with a company called Global Destinations, which is well known, they're Mumbai based, who's our representative company in India, and we've had them personally phone agents and find out exactly what their needs and their requirements are. And I've had personal phone calls with maybe over 200-300 agents, just talking to them on a daily basis, with one call after the other, just educating them in terms of what South Africa is all about, how we can do things. Then lastly, what we've done is we've relooked at all our packages in the Indian market. And we found multiple ways to basically travel a particular route. Like we all know that Indians love to spend time in Cape Town. They love being on the garden route. They enjoy going to a safari destination or a location, or to Sun City. So what we've done is we found ways in how we can basically sell those same packages, same routings, but in different ways. Maybe giving them an option of villa accommodation for bigger families where the cost will be brought down, or maybe finding smaller based accommodation. We know that our Indian clients love branded hotels. So we've looked at branded hotels, but we've looked at how can we reposition them in those branded hotels so that we don't have people like 3 people in a smaller room, but maybe 3 people in a bigger room, so that there's more social distancing. We've ensured that our vehicles that we have are in our costings, we've tried to basically absorb the costs by giving them bigger vehicles at the same price they would have paid for a smaller vehicle, and ensuring that those vehicles are sanitized as well. So we put a lot of effort in terms of developing products, and these products that I'm referring to have not been thumbsucked. They were after the discussions and the training sessions that we've had with the agents, where we asked and we posed questions saying, how would you like to see your Indian clients traveling in South Africa? What is your expectations of us as a DMC if we had to come back and give you something? And so a lot of the intel that we use, so the training sessions was a fact-finding session for us as well. And then we've used that information to ensure that we've now gone out. So over the last 3 to 4 weeks, we have basically gone back to all the agents that have helped us to share these new packages with them and to share what we've done differently. And I'm happy to say, that the acceptance of it has been great. Also, what we've pushed is a lot of self-drive into South Africa, because there's this reluctance from certain sectors within India that they don't want to do self-drives in South Africa, and yet it's such a cost-effective way of traveling and seeing more of this beautiful country. And we've shared with them what the roads look like. So what I've done, for example, is jumped into my car and actually went down a very, very busy intersection and navigated through it on a Zoom face-to-face phone, mobile phone, just to basically show agents how easy it was. And a lot of them said, my gosh, we can't believe how. The first question was, is there no traffic in India? In South Africa, not like India. You can basically drive your car at 140 kilometers an hour. Not that we allow you to do it, but you can, and you'll enjoy your ride. So I think it was those types of things. It's just thinking out the box. Everybody can offer the same thing. But like you said rightfully at the beginning, as a company, we care about our customers, and it's not about the money. It's about and for me, that has always been the most important.
Well, I think that states very clearly why you are in the front line of tourism and a tourism champion, because you're so creative and innovative, and these tips that you have shared are going to assist a lot of other people or clients or partners rethink what their offering is to the clients. Colin, now let's put on your crystal ball and let's look at the future. What do you think travel is going to be like post-COVID?
Bunny, it's a scary thought. It's really a scary thought. If you can remember, 9/11, I can remember that stage. I was still working a lot in the American market. And we could remember when clients had to come to South Africa, how they absolutely test us going through the airports, whether they were going through the hub airports or they were going through connecting flight airports to get to a destination. And I remember how much of PR we had to do then to just kind of educate people that it's not as bad as they think. So I think there's going to be a lot of negative fear out in the marketplace, and that's kind of why I'm relating to the 9/11 situation. On the other hand, I've had friends and family who have traveled for essential services now, and said how easy it is actually to get through the airports in South Africa, and how much more safer it is, and how much more attention is paid to. So I think South Africa is ready from that point of view. In terms of arrivals into the country, meaning that we'll have touchless type of interactions. That's what I see coming through. I also see that clients will be wanting to stay away from mainstream hotels. We for example are based in Cape Town, but we live in a really, really beautiful part of Cape Town, which is near Constantia, and that's where the oldest wine farms are. Now we have beautiful accommodation all around us. They are absolutely beautiful accommodation, and people come and have long stays. They stay there for 3, 4, 5 months sometimes, because that's how beautiful and cost effective it is. But normally a client from India would never want to consider that, because they always wanted to be in the city center of Cape Town. But I think this is the time of how do we use on that ability to sell and share with them something that will be a lot more of value at a better pricing, and giving them a lot more in terms of return from a setting point of view, from an accommodation point of view, from a service point of view. So I think what we would all have to do is try to educate clients that we are the experts in the destinations. We've done our research, that when we come up with alternative suggestions for accommodation, please do consider what we're saying. Don't go for the mainstream, always using the big. Not that I'm saying that the big is not good. They are, and they have prepared to take clients back. But I think we need to look at it differently. I think also the type of tours that people take, we all in South Africa know, and around the world know, that Indian clients like to do as much as possible in a particular day. And within a 5 to 10 day itinerary, they want to see as much as they can see and do. I think people will rethink that. I think they've had time now to start enjoying their families, enjoying themselves, to realize that you can do things a lot leisurely. So I firmly believe that one of the things that we will do going forward is try to sell down the pace of an Indian tour. Try to make the days longer in terms of going out, instead of starting later and trying to finish earlier. Kind of now spread the day. So maybe starting at 10 o'clock, giving them a leisurely breakfast, then doing as much activity as you can up to 5, 6 o'clock, and then having a light dinner, and then taking them to an entertainment spot where they can enjoy themselves. So I see us working differently. I also see that it's not going to be family travel. So I think those 8 to 10 packs that we were seeing last year, I think there's going to go back to the 2 and 3 packs. I think the brave at heart are going to travel first, like the honeymooners, the youngsters, maybe the empty nesters who are slightly older, who basically. So I think we're going to come back down to individual traveling or smaller number traveling. But I think the frequencies will be a lot higher initially, and I think then from there it'll progress itself. But I also see people not coming to South Africa just to basically want to stay in hotels. I see them wanting to come out to explore the adventure side of it, because I think everybody being cooped up for the last 4 or 5 months in their homes have made them tired. So they want to basically go out and fly their wings. So I think South Africa allows it. In every destination you go, we have such unique opportunities for high adrenaline adventure, which is exactly what our Indian clients like. So from that point of view, I think we're going to see ourselves selling a lot more higher intensity type adventure packages, where somebody will do the bungee jumping, they will do the skydiving, they will do a shark cage diving, they will want to basically maybe dive with a crocodile, those types of activities, whereas maybe in the past it was always an option. I think people will start putting them on their bucket lists.
And Colin, regarding mice and the larger groups, that I know is pretty challenging, but any plans you have in place, or the province has in place, to start attracting that grouping again to the Western Cape or South Africa?
I think the Western Cape is a major contributor to mice business, and especially mice business out of India into Cape Town. So what has happened is that I think the protocols that have been put in place by a lot of the conference centers, the conventions, the hotels that cater for mice groups and things have been quite nice, and we've had quite a few good training sessions in terms of how they've displayed it and things. And I really like the feeling that they brought into it. So one of the things, for example, is like, if you had say a mice group of 100 people, where you'd normally take 2 coaches and you'd have 50 packs in each coach, we're now basically going to try to have maybe 4 coaches with 25 packs and smaller size coaches, but keeping pricing as competitive as possible, to give people a lot more distancing and a lot more time. So from that point of view, I think your meals and your interactions are going to change slightly. It's not going to be buffet style, but I think for the Indian market, what we've proposed to a lot of the suppliers that we work with, especially with groups and with mice business, is to do thali type servings to the table. So what happens then is you're giving people a lot more variety of smaller portions, and do refills if people want. That's not a problem at all. But as opposed to cutting away buffets, I think that's going to help. Breakfast is going to be a little bit tricky. So our Indian clients, as you know, they have a specific dietary requirement when it comes to breakfast. So I think that's going to be quite a tricky one. So we would need, we've indicated that we do pastries and we do sweet snacks on the tables and do fruit and juices on the table so people can help themselves in smaller numbers, and then basically do orders for breakfast, maybe through the rooms. So what we do is each night there is a room service breakfast order that's put on the beds. We encourage the groups to basically place their orders so that the chefs can then prepare it. So because when the clients come down into the breakfast room, we can kind of pre-allocate them and serve. Because as you know, and why I say breakfast is going to be a challenge, because we all know with our Indian clients, they all come screaming into the breakfast room at the last minute, just before the departure is about to go, putting us all under pressure. But I think the kitchens are not going to basically be able to handle it if we don't pre-plan it. So that's one of the things we like. Lunches and dinners are a lot easier to manage from that point of view. And I think in terms of the venues, how they'll be spaced out and things like that, a lot of the conferences that come down from India are MySpace, so they spend maybe 2-3 hours maximum. So that's not going to be too much of a challenge in terms of setting up a venue. I think it's more about feeding the group and moving them around that would be of major concern. And also because there are going to be certain health protocols, especially in the Western Cape. Like if they're going to go to Table Mountain, it's going to take slightly longer to get an entire group through the protocol setups. If they're going to basically then go to, say, Hard Bay, it's going to be the same as well. Because remember, you can't just walk onto a boat. Now you'd have to go through the sanitation process. You'd have to go through the temperature checks to ensure that. So I think those are things that we've taken into consideration. So kind of for MICE groups will be the total opposite to how we would treat FITs. We would have to start slightly earlier and plan the days out within set times so that we can basically meet those requirements. So when we get to a busy spot like Table Mountain, we're not wasting time. We can move the group through a lot quicker if we have an allocated spot that comes through it as well. And that's what we are proposing to a lot of the bigger service providers like Table Mountain, Cape Point, like helicopter rides, is that can they have protocols put in place for groups so that when groups come in, they're not treated the same as FIT clients, but given preference so that they can go through a lot quicker because of the numbers, and that will also speed up things. So those are just some of the things, but again, it's a collaborative effort with DMCs like us working with the service providers, attending their training sessions to understand how they're going to do things so that we can give input, because we know that in Cape Town every market has a very different way of traveling, and Indian client has a very different way and a very different requirement, and therefore we had to take that into consideration and feed that to the suppliers. So I'm happy to say that I think we are geared for MICE and for groups returning.
In closing, Colin, what would your message be to potential clients, to your potential partners? Can you give us your closing message?
I'd like to say that South Africa is ready to accept your clients. My honest opinion is I would like you to start booking your clients from maybe November, December onwards, so that we have a good flurry of it. I think we should all start preparing ourselves for a bumper winter season next year, 2021. So maybe starting from April 2021 right through to about July, we see it going through. And that is, and as a country, as a nation, as a company, as a service provider that relies on the Indian business, we are ready for you, and you can be rest assured that we will take good care of your loved ones and ensure that they not only have a healthy holiday, but they have a safe holiday as well.
Well, thank you so much, Colin. You are definitely one of the best in South Africa.
Thank you, buddy.
No.
Coming from a mother like you, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
In closing, this is Bunny Bhoola from the Dope News. Thank you so much for listening on our series, African Voices on the Roadmap for Recovery. And I'd just like to share something special that applies totally to Colin. Is be so good that they can't ignore you. Please enjoy our future episodes, subscribe to our episodes, and thank you so much. Bye.